as I'm approaching Pluto here.
And you were approaching Pluto.
I'm approaching Pluto.
Which
so
is a planet in
I
this timeline.
was saying I've always wanted to go to Pluto. Let's check out what's on here. Mineral scan. There's one exotic mineral on the planet, and there is one source of energy on the planet, which is pretty rare. There's not many planets that have that going on. First of all, we're going to get this this exotic because it's very valuable.
Makes sense.
What kind it is. Zo crystals.
Zo crystals.
Of course. All
What
right,
happens
let's
if
check
you
out
drive
what
off
this
the
is.
map?
Whoa. I don't know. Let's find out. Nothing.
Ow!
What on earth could this be?
I don't know.
Ah, he shot us a bunch.
He did.
Mayday from the surface. We have come under fire from an alien vessel we found hiding on the surface of Pluto. Captain, they killed Kowalski,
Not
Fritz,
Kowalski!
Chin, O'Donnell, Luigi, and all three of the Lieberman triplets.
Luigi!
We've returned fire, but our stunners can't penetrate the ship's hull armor. We're initiating emergency launch procedures. What happened?
You lost a whole lot of dudes.
Whoa.
Attention, big mean hostile alien vessel hovering overhead in an obvious attack posture.
That's actually what his VO sounds like. I'm not making that up.
This is the Spathy Captain Whiffo.
Hey, Fwiffo.
I know you're going to torture me, so let's just get this over with right now.
It sounds like he's got some Sato thing going
The
on.
homeworld. So he gives up the coordinates of his homeworld immediately.
Yep.
The ultra-secret Spathy cipher, which is known only by me and several billion other Spathy, is Huffy Muffy Guffy. Got it. Sorry about the little mistake with the landing vehicle. I was so startled when you approached my vessel. Alright, automated defense system's fine.
But the Leibowitz triplets.
Identify yourself or be destroyed. So the Spathy are this race of cowards, essentially. They're extremely afraid of everything.
Awesome.
And so the Spathy and the Ilrath, that spider guy that we fought earlier, they were assigned to keep watch over the Earthlings. And then the Ilrath were like, this is boring, we want to go hunt things. So they left. And then the Spathy were like, we're really terrified of what we're doing here. So we're just going to keep moving further and further away and leave fewer and fewer ships in the system. Until Fwiffo here is the last guy, and he left on Pluto.
Poor Fwiffo.
But to invite him into our army. I just have to keep asking him, and eventually we will.
I see.
Why are you here on Pluto? What are you doing here on Pluto? Tell me what you're doing on Pluto. What happened with the Ilrath in the system? See, they left. Are you expecting a return? No. What's happening with the base? They rigged it up to play an alien nursery rhyme on repeat for several years. And just join me in my party.
Phil, you're kind of aggressive about him joining you, and
I wanted to show people the star map because before we have to break character and actually talk about Neverwinter.
We can talk about anything. It's our stream.
That's true. So welcome to the stream, folks. We're playing Star Control 2, the Urquan Masters right now.
The Urquan Masters.
Which has nothing to do with Dungeons & Dragons or really any of the games that we make, but it's my favorite game, so I'm going to force you to look at it while Trent talks about Neverwinter Nights.
As some strange alien is groping control things.
That's how you control ships.
You do?
All right.
You randomly go with your pincer thingies?
That's how they did it on the Apollo.
I see. So, big news on our side is Siege of Dragonspear is up on tablets, which is awesome.
It is indeed. Baldur's Gate Siege of Dragonspear can be acquired for your Android or iOS device, and you can play it right now and have a great amount of time.
And
a great amount of fun, I should say.
We did a great amount of time. You're weird, man. So we actually went through and we pulled some of the improvements from Planescape Torment on tablet. So it's taken some good steps forward. So it's in a really happy place.
For example, when you talk to people, you get these handy little buttons along the side. It was an innovation that we had in Planescape Torment that made getting through these conversations much, much more enjoyable.
Yes, you can keep your thumb up and just keep playing with it. Yep.
So Siege is out. It's great, and you should go buy it on iOS and Android. We're very, very happy with it. Tons of bug fixes, tons of improvements. As Trent was saying, we've got those incredible UI adjustments. And it's a great experience, so go grab it, go play it. And of course, it's a Baldur's Gate game, so you can export your character from Baldur's Gate Enhanced Edition and then carry through the story of Siege of Dragonspear, and then at the end, export them to Baldur's Gate 2 Enhanced Edition.
Exactly.
That is right. The one thing to keep in mind is that Baldur's Gate Siege of Dragonspear is standalone on iOS and Android. It's not an expansion pack. You can just get that game by itself, and I encourage you to go check it out.
Yeah, so if you want somebody to actually, if you want to play Siege of Dragonspear and you don't have Baldur's Gate, that's totally legit. You can totally do that. Or if you own Baldur's Gate on every other platform known to man, and you just decided to buy Apple products, and you're like, I don't want to buy it again. You don't have to.
There's a lot of reasons to buy it, so find one that works for you and then execute upon it. Guys, what about Arcanum? All right, so
What about Arcanum?
we have a question from the audience. What about Arcanum? So remember the last stream when we said we were going to look into it again? We did look into it again.
We did?
And, well, we looked at the terms from last time, and it was pretty rough. So that was a few years ago.
Yeah.
I think it's time to reinitiate that process, perhaps.
I mean, maybe we can have another conversation. We're going to go down to the Game Developers Conference. We'll see if any of those dudes are there. If not, we'll hook up with Fergus, and we'll drink vast amount of beers, and we'll discuss if we should talk to those guys or not.
That's fair. A question from the audience. Phil, have you played Space Rangers HD? It's very much a modern-day successor to Star Control, text-based adventures and all. I believe that I have, but it would have been several years ago, and I think I might be confusing it with a different game. I won't look it up right now, but let's just say maybe. It's a good answer.
Maybe.
Question, what was the toughest part of getting Siege of Dragonspear tablets? It took a while to get there. The toughest part was getting Planescape Torment out the door, because that was kind of the major roadblock.
Well, that and actually trying to figure out how we were going to fit Baldur's Gate plus Siege of Dragonspear on a tablet. And eventually we gave up and made it a standalone product.
Yeah, so during the development of Planescape Torment Enhanced Edition, we were thinking about, okay, eventually we have to get Siege on a tablet, so we're going to do this. And the big problem facing us was, hey, there's an app size limit, and Siege plus BG are large games, so it's going to be hard to figure out.
So, I mean, we're good at compressing stuff down from huge into tiny, but the problem is there's always a quality loss there. Now, to do Siege of Dragonspear at the quality we wanted, doing it and Baldur's Gate together would basically not work on any smaller memory iPad or iPhone. So you'd basically have to get a bigger memory device, like 16 gigs or larger.
So getting it to fit is kind of the ultimate issue that we faced. And then probably after that, we're mainly performance things. So as you may have noticed, the system requirements for Dragonspear are higher than they are for BG and BG2.
Yes.
And this is, again, 100% my fault.
It is.
If you go read the interview on 148 app with me, I take full responsibility for adding battles that are too large, crowd sizes that are too big, and too many things going on screen at once.
Too many background movies.
There you go.
Big webams playing in the background.
My fault. If you have an iPad 2 still and you can't play and you're mad about it, I'm sorry. It's my fault. Just please send all your hate mail to me directly.
Yes.
I will read it and press it against my chest to internalize it.
And he will feel shame. Phil, somebody believes that you stole their grandpa's cardigan.
It's not how she tells it.
Grandpa. Oh, grandma's cardigan. Yeah, you totally got it. What about new content for BG2? Will we see Kalar and Corwin again?
I actually would love to do that. We sketched out...
Let me cut you off right there. At this point, we have no plans to spend money to allow that to happen.
Yes. But let me tell you about the stuff that we had sketched out. So when we were working on Dragonspear, the hope was that we could do another module after it that adds on to BG2. Time and unforeseen occurrence makes fools of us all, so that ended up not panning out. But some of the stuff that we were going to do was, obviously there's a plot thread set up with the Soul Taker dagger that was going to get resolved. The plot that we had initially set up was we were going to fix the Irenicus dungeon in a sort of interesting way. So the Irenicus dungeon is sort of infamous as being this slog that people want to skip through most of the time. Yeah. And that's absolutely true if it's your second, third, fourth playthrough.
But think about the insight you gain by talking to
all the insight you gain. So we weren't going to change the initial dungeon, but rather what would happen was after you leave the dungeon, later you could come back to go back into Irenicus's lab, and now it's been like all overgrown and taken over by whoever else, and it's been changed. And you got to go in there, find the Soul Taker dagger. We were going to have not Corwin. It was either going to be Corwin or her father that was hunting you through this whole thing, and then eventually they could be a party member or whatever. But yeah, that was kind of the thing, is that they're hunting you, so you'd better get the dagger back so that you can revive Ski properly, so that she can go on to have grandchildren who appear in the modern version of Baldur's Gate.
Wonderful.
Yes.
What happened to the whole murder thing?
Well, that was the murder, is that you killed her with the dagger, and her soul is trapped in the dagger. And
No, I wasn't referring to that one. I was referring to
the murder in Baldur's Gate, of course,
Yeah.
as well. That's a different story for a
We don't
different
want to go there yet.
somebody in the audience is saying, I want to play Neverwinter Nights with a gnome that looks like Phil. You guys make this dream come true.
No.
It's pretty easy to mod in if you just delete the hair and kind of give him a swarthy look.
We would encourage you to do it on your own.
So we have some questions about Neverwinter Nights now, and we actually have quite a bit of news about Neverwinter Nights.
Will you ever make documentation for new file types that you release, like the .mdl file and how to use them for beginners? So .mdl files are actually not new. They are .model files. They are the Neverwinter format. The only difference is we've cooked up some previously blank data fields we've actually pushed data into, which we are now using for tangent space bias data and so on.
Changed.
Yeah, we don't have a ton of documentation on it because we don't have a really good workflow, tool flow yet.
We're currently in the middle of resolving that, actually.
We know how. We know we can make HD level content, and we're trying to figure out the best process to get there. And then once we've got the process figured out, then we'll nail down exactly what the formats are and how to best work with them.
Yeah, I poked my head into a meeting the other day where they were reviewing the MDL format, basically breaking down what each chunk is, and it's like, yeah, that's 2001 staring you in the face right there.
Pretty much.
So we're kind of redesigning how it's going to go and building some new tools to make it less of a bear to work with. Are you porting the PSTE frame rate slider to the next beta? Probably not, but keep an eye out for something like that in the future. So the issue with the frame rate slider is that it will objectively break multiplayer. So if we do patch it in at some point in the future, it would be exclusively to single player mode, and there's also a lot of other issues that we would need to look into there. So it's on the list for stuff to consider in a future update, but you're not going to see it in an update or in the next 2.5 update.
Yeah, it's one of those. How big of a fight do I want to pick as a developer?
Because, hey, we can turn it on, and it's just going to break a bunch of things for you.
Oh, my God, it broke everything.
Someone says, I never finished Siege of Dragonspear because I always have optimal party composition anxiety. What party do you suggest playing it through with? I'm fond of the Viconia, Edwin, Glint, Minsk, and Dynahir combo, plus the PC, because I'm a sucker for, the old school characters from the original game.
Edwin Dynahir Love Fest.
Oh, yeah. You can kind of rig it up so that they'll stay together, but it's fun. You get a lot of fun conversations out of it. The one thing I would suggest, though, is on the in the final area, as it were, the final battle, before you initiate the final boss battle, see if you can get your party down to just 5 members overall, because there's a fun Easter egg in the final battle.
Ooh, funny Easter egg.
Question from the audience. Guys, did you consider marketing via Humble Bundle?
We talked with the Humble Bundle guys. One of the kind of roadblocks for me is that I think of Baldur's Gate as a premium product. I think it's high value, and the idea of basically giving it away for $1 just feels wrong. So we could, but ultimately I feel it cheapens the franchise by essentially not valuing it properly.
Fair enough.
That's my thing.
Business philosophy.
I got a hang up around that.
Somebody in the audience asked a kind of confusing question. If you were charged to do Bard's Gate 4, how would it look like? I'm assuming that this is the hybrid Baldur's Gate plus a Bard's Tale plus some numbers title that everyone's been fantasizing about for years. I think they're actually asking, if you're going to make a new Baldur's Gate, what would it look like?
Or if you can make any kind of new game, what would it look like?
Well, that's a big question. Are we talking an unlimited budget and all of the manpower that you need? Are we talking you got to kickstart this thing? There's a lot of different ways to approach it, and it really depends on how much backing that you have.
Yeah, I think with $100 million, I would make Trent drunk permanently in Jamaica on a beach in hedonistic splendor.
So I'm gonna buy the Star Citizen code base from Chris Roberts and see how quickly we can spend $100 million making the world's greatest D&D
Is it like a Brewster's Millions? You got to burn the money.
I'm taking Star Citizen and I'm making the Spelljammer game.
Oh God! So
you can fly to that crystal sphere.
It's blacksmithing time. I'm going to ignore everything that Phil wants to do. So I've got 3 things here. First thing is a little chef's knife I'm playing with. It's got a ton of really fine detail on it. and it's also got nail polish on it. The nail polish is to stop the blade from etching the actual knife edge.
And to make it look pretty.
You got to put a little nail polish on but it keeps the acid from etching it. So
we're
here,
gonna
I'll hand it to the
get
hand of Dan, and the hand of Dan can show the detail on it. So you can see.
Is it blood? Is he kidding?
It's not
you don't
blood.
know.
It's nail polish. Blood would be much blacker if it dried.
See, he knows.
So it's cute. I made this Damascus a while ago. I'm just finally getting around to playing with it. Previously, I have showed the Cavalry Saber. Now, the cool thing about it now is that I've done the quench on it. So I don't know if you can see it well, but it's got a beautiful blue to it. That beautiful blue, I'm going to hand it to Dan
Maybe we can
in a way
catch the
that
light
Dan
from,
is hopefully not stabbed.
Hard to see if we'll
It's
pick
not
up the
sharp
light.
yet. I'm still playing with it, but it just has a beautiful blue to it. So the blue is at about 500 degrees Fahrenheit. So when you harden steel, it's really hard. And then you've got to take the hardness down a bit, otherwise it can shatter. So by after the quench, after you heat treat it up, you heat it up to like 1650 Fahrenheit, you quench it in oil, it cools down, then you let it sit for a while, and then you heat treat it by warming it back up to about 450 degrees, depending on the steel. You're looking for kind of a light straw color. So this is too big for me to fit in a heat treat oven, so I actually just took a torch and I heated the back side of it to blue, which will give me 500. And by the time the heat transferred to the sharp edge, it got down to the appropriate temperatures. And the final thing I've got on the go here, this is the Canister Damascus that I put up last week. So I actually made a knife out of that steel, and the pattern doesn't show up very well because this is just like a really rough grind. It just came literally out of the forge, and then I ground it, and then I put some work onto it. I'll hand it to Dan with the non-stabby end. The pattern is called, they call it almost like snakeskin pattern. It's just got, you can see the ball bearing shapes in there. I made it with the wrong steel, so it doesn't have the dark light contrast that I like, but I'll finish it up eventually. But that's kind of what they look like rough forged. I made the tang way too long because I was drawing it out and it just kept coming.
Do you remember in, I think it was Return of the King, when they're pulling all the Uruk-hai out of the mud and they're like forging those thick, chunky swords for them?
Yep.
That's what I imagine it's like in your shop.
I actually made one. I made an Uruk-hai sword. I thought it was pretty awesome.
I thought you were going to say you made an Uruk-hai.
No, that's still on the go.
Only Saruman can
I've got
do
the
that.
pits. I've got the globby pits there. But I made the Uruk-hai style sword, and I was
the hook on the end.
that was the problem. This is when I first kind of started, and I wasn't able to make the hook that I was happy with. And then I started experimenting with that, and then it basically turned into a twisted pile of destructo metal and went into my scrap pile.
You know, when Sauron died, that's kind of what happened to most of the Orcish equipment. Is it just kind of got warped and twisted, and everyone had a bad day. And they fell into that pit in the movie.
Wow.
Crazy.
And big steam explosions. That was awesome.
All right, we're gonna knock out some more Beamdog news here, and then we're
Ooh.
gonna switch over full time to Neverwinter because
Here-
we have a very important Neverwinter announcement. That
We
have
do,
to
which
get to.
may indeed line up with this question.
Any idea when we will see a Steam Neverwinter Nights release? Should we put a date on the release date for Neverwinter Nights Enhanced Edition, Trent? Should
I
we
think-
do that right this second?
I think we should.
What day should we release Neverwinter Nights Enhanced Edition on Steam?
I think we should release it before the end of the month.
I think we should release it this month. Yeah, let's do that.
I think we should release it on the 27th.
Yeah, what day is it today? The 9th? All right, the 27th of March is when Neverwinter Nights Enhanced Edition will be released to buy and enjoy on Steam, Beamdog, and countless other platforms, but
Yep.
probably just those two to start.
Yeah.
So what does this mean? Are we done? Is that it? Are we no more development? Is Neverwinter Nights going to get see you later?
So I would look at what we've done with every other game we've worked on. So Baldur's Gate, we shipped 5 years ago, over 5 years ago now, and we're kind of consistently moving it forward.
But I think for Neverwinter, our plans are even grander because we actually have all the assets and the sources and everything that we need to produce top-tier content.
That is true, and we are going to be marching it forward. So our plan is to cut back on the release frequency a little bit. So we'll stage them out so we're not constantly disrupting persistent worlds and people who are trying to run persistent worlds.
The development branch will still always be available, so you'll still, like the Head Start program in general will continue in the sense that you'll be able to see development builds and contribute to development direction, just as you do now. It's just that the game will be available for sale. And there will be a version that is stable and is not updated constantly.
Exactly. And then we'll be rolling stuff forward in the development version. And as it becomes stable, we'll roll it into a ship version.
So we actually have some stuff to show off, things that will be going into Neverwinter Nights in the future, graphical things, upgrades, changes, improvements, tweaks. I'm going to set that up, but in the meantime, do you want to tell people what's new in the new development branch update, build 8163?
8163. The camera was set previously to pre-169. We've put it back to 169, and we actually opened up those parameters. So you can go under control options. You can set camera max pitch and camera min distance, which is pretty cool. So you can twiddle with that. We fixed some bugs. Software cursor doesn't hide behind the UI anymore, which is nice. Toolset can properly select WBM movies now instead of BICs. Premium modules now work in multiplayer. Note, some modules were not meant to be played in multiplayer, and their scripting might get a little wonky on stuff.
So this is kind of a big feature, and if it breaks, we're sorry, but it wasn't designed to do this, so we're going to need to fix it more as we find the issues. Yeah. But the feature's there, so we can start finding the issues.
So Dan's telling us it's... actually, before we do that, let's just finish this list up. We fixed some crashes in the UPnP mechanism. Water static lighting problems have been fixed up. And we've basically put a bunch of additional graphical features in there. Combining of parts with similar attributes has been re-enabled with support for new data streams, tangents, additional texture coordinate streams, vertex colors. Should boost performance back to where it was prior to the addition of the new streams.
So we're fixing regressions.
We're marching it forward. So you can adjust the camera limits, and multiplayer game through the friend system is working. It's pretty sweet.
So that's working now?
Yep.
Very cool. So we actually have some visual stuff to show off. If we could be so kind as to head over to my screen here. Who among you remembers the Hall of Justice from the Wailing Death campaign?
Ooh, me.
Why do you remember it, Trent?
Because
Did you spend a lot of time working on it?
Because I was just playing it like 3 days ago.
Oh, well, that's a different reason than I thought. But here's the Hall of Justice.
Yes.
Classic. Beautiful. 2002. Incredible.
You say it like it's a bad thing.
I'm not saying it like it's a bad thing. I'm saying like it's a retro
2002 was
classic.
a very happy time.
It's like a classic car.
But look at how pretty some of those textures are on the floor.
All right. Now, let's jump ahead 18 years.
Really?
Okay. 15.
My God. Time. How it passes. Ooh, question here. Pirates or ninjas? Well, pirates
in what context?
Pirates
right?
are really
like,
known for bad hygiene. So.
Am I approaching these people to assassinate the regent, or am I trying to plunder something? You know, like different skills for different.
Can you
tasks.
please stop that movie? It offends me. Oh, T-shirt before you go on.
All right. So before we reveal what's going on,
we're going to give a Neverwinter T-shirt to Staran Pius. Staran Pius.
Staran Pius.
Staran Pius.
It never gets old.
No.
Never. Everyone loves it, and they laugh, and I can hear it from far away, the laughter of hundreds of people watching this right now.
Horrible pronunciations.
All right, guys, you want to see this cool new stuff in Neverwinter Nights?
I want to see the cool new stuff, because I haven't seen the cool new stuff yet.
Oh, girl.
You may be overselling it, Phil. I think Phil's selling it. So
what does this represent before we get into it?
I think this is us playing with tiles in the Hall of Justice and seeing what kind of things we can do.
Sorry, this is the wrong build.
Whoops. And Phil played the wrong build. Bad Phil.
Sorry, Boyd.
Bad Phil.
I apologize.
Here's a question. Actually, Dan just scrolled down, and I can't see what the top question was. How goes the UI investigation? How long until I can move the dialogue window? It's brutal. The UI investigation has basically... It's come to the point where the screams have stopped coming from the pit that we threw the people investigating the UI into, and we've sent new people in to look for those dead bodies and figure out what's happening. Seriously, we evaluated a couple of packages. One of the options was kind of putting chromium on top But there were some limitations that we just couldn't get past on that, so we're still doing some research on it. It's going to be a while. UI is one of those big things that when we change it, it's going to be huge.
So after that embarrassing display that I had earlier, I have it working now.
So Phil now has the overlit Hall of Justice. Pow! That is some crazy, crazy detail, Holmes.
So what are we looking at here? New models. We can swap out stuff here. So the lighting that you're seeing is pretty harsh. This is a definite work in progress, but it's an example of what we're going to be able to do with all of our tile sets and character models and environment models like these statues. You can see quite a difference here between the two.
I am loving statue on the left.
Look at this guy. He looks so stoic.
He is stoic.
Beautiful. So obviously we've got some crazy
and
stack
he's
normals going
buff,
on.
but he's kind of like a gladiator style buff.
Yeah.
He's not like oiled bodybuilder buff.
But wait, what's going on with this player character? He looks different.
He does. Oh my god.
He's got all this detail and
He is a detailed character.
That's crazy. So again, is this finished or are we done here?
This is kind of the first stages of sorting the tool pipeline. Is actually trying to make content and get it final and see how things are working.
Yeah. So earlier we talked about, hey, that tool chain and that MDL stuff is kind of a pain. This is us working through that pain and figuring out how we're going to optimize it and make it modern and usable.
Sometimes you got to hand edit stuff. The other thing is that this is with the area default lighting that was set previously, which this room was always a little hot. And with the hot lighting plus the new spec normal stuff, it's hot. Yeah. I mean, obviously this would benefit greatly from a lighting pass.
So we're pretty happy with this as an experiment, but obviously we got a lot of work to do to make the game look great. This is just testing out various graphical features, and yeah, we're pretty happy with this. So we're going to take a whole whack of questions from the audience because they're starting to build up here.
So ETA for the 2.5 patch soon.
Yeah.
We don't have a hard date on it yet.
This is going back to the Infinity Engine. So for those of you who are unaware, Baldur's Gate 2, Icewind Dale, Planescape Torment, and Siege of Dragonspear are all getting patches. Sorry, Planescape Torment isn't part of the 2.5 patch, but it will get patched eventually.
It'll follow.
Yeah. So the base Infinity Engine games are getting updated. We have a beta available for this patch on Steam right now. We're in the middle of updating it with new localization things. So
that said,
Dale just got updated.
Yeah, we haven't committed to a formal timeline. I mean, right now we just shipped Siege of Dragonspear. We got Neverwinter Enhanced Edition coming out on the 27th. The truck is full at the moment.
It's coming real soon though. So
soon.
The main thing we need to do is make sure that all those loc updates look good. So it's gonna be at least a few more weeks minimum, but once the loc stuff is sorted out, we've got a pretty solid build to give you guys.
Next question is, what's the status of making persistent worlds automatically download hack, TLK, and 2DA files?
She's a coming.
It's one of those things we're still finishing up kind of researchy on that. We've kind of got the Steam Workshop stuff set up, so that's one of the possible directions of that.
There's we've done a lot of the back end work. We know how to do it. There's some implementation tasks that we'll need to do, but a lot of the stuff, getting the workshop together, was necessary to make that happen. So it's coming.
Did you get the Lady of Pain's permission to use her likeness? If not, do you have your wills written?
What's she gonna do?
Totally different realm. She doesn't cross over into...
She can't leave the cage. That's why they call it the cage. She's not going to get me, and I'll never end up in Sigil. What's the big deal?
No.
I'm safe.
Totally safe.
Question from the audience about Neverwinter. Line of sight from NPCs/characters. As of now, 2 10-foot giants can stand on either side of a 1-meter box and not see each other. Can that be fixed? So the line of sight is basically just basing it off of the floor path.
Yeah, it's based, like Neverwinter essentially is a 2.5D game. It's top down in terms of dictating what the line of sight can be. I mean, that's something we can add in some functionality and you could script in. Basically making a more powerful line of sight check that ignored PWK and actually essentially shot array. The problem there, you start to lose the effectiveness of being able to see through or block walls easily, because it's really low on computation resources right now. So that's kind of a big win. So if you start having to actually do lines of sights for everything, it starts to fall apart.
Just constant ray casts from everyone's eyes.
Exactly. Cast ray from every creature to every creature. Can see, yes, no. So there's some possible badness there. So I would say probably not going to go there.
Fair enough. All right, questions from the audience. Those two statues, one is before enhancing and one is after enhancing, right? Yep. So the one on the left here is our recent attempt at swapping out the MDL with something higher res with nicer textures. And the one on the right is the old model. I think it has a little bit of spec applied to it, but it's the old content, basically.
It's the old model with the new lighting applying on it. So it's actually looking better than the default, but it's the old model. Back when we were really, really efficient on polygons.
Look
at the efficiency. Look at the efficiency.
A lot of people still didn't have dedicated 3D accelerators back then, man. You gotta make the choices for that era.
New content for old campaigns. Neverwinter Trello is top, is king. What about this, Trent? 306 people voted.
They want to recruit Arabeth as a henchman. Make it happen.
No, they want new content in the official campaign. I get it. A lot of people are saying that. I don't think I have a good solution for this yet. I'm still thinking on it.
He's a torn man. We
torn.
have conversations about it. There's so many directions we could take this in.
I mean, part of me wants to kind of stick with the whole Baldur's Gate curation and not radically change things, but at the same time, a lot of the original bad decisions were my bad decisions.
Well,
so
I like the idea that you had of like the Trent Oster director's cut module in the workshop, right? Because then you're not touching the original, but
it's literally just this ultra cut down version of horrible dramatic moments from the plot.
Well, you remember Dave Gator did Baldur's Gate 2 Ascension,
yes,
and that was him making the game what he had wanted it to be. So you could do something similar to that. I think people would be receptive to that. What do you guys think? Should Trent make a workshop module?
And then the other side of that is expanding out the content that was cut down and that was put aside. I mean, I hate adding. I really hate adding. I'm more of a subtractive kind of person. So, again, I'm thinking about it. I've got ideas, but I don't have anything I can commit to right now.
It would be the Neverwinter Nights equivalent to the luge. Just a straight, smooth shot to the end. You glide down. Question about Baldur's Gate 2. With all of the VO restored, how large will it be? I don't have an answer for that right now, but it will be larger.
Yes.
We're probably not going to break the app size limit, though. Well, we can, because otherwise we can't sell the game.
Any chance to add some of the weapons that I built to Neverwinter EE as hidden Easter eggs? There's been discussion of putting the Elvish Dagger in there.
Somebody
won't know my Elvish Dagger, the one I built. People wanted to replace the original starting dagger in Hordes with it, and I was like, dude, my dagger's better than that one. Mine needs to be magical and needs to be kind of awesome. So, I might build it in 3D and throw it in there. And I might do that with some other things. There was a question, if Beamdog was a weapon, what weapon would it be?
Trebuchet. Retro, powerful, doesn't get the credit it deserves.
Yeah.
Versus catapults.
So I was thinking more melee weapon, but I like Trebuchet. I'll go with that. I second it.
The best siege weapon in Age of Empires 2. Come on.
Yeah.
Seriously, though, do you have any traction getting something regarding Spelljammer out of WotC, or is that just a what if?
It's totally
it's
a
a
Phil
pretty big
thing.
what if. It's
Phil.
just
Phil
me.
loves it, and Phil's weird.
I do think that WotC is aware of how beloved Spelljammer is. I don't know for a fact that they're working on a reboot or anything like that, but I expect that it's on their list of stuff to bring to 5th edition because, I mean, look at what they've already done. Spelljammer is beloved over there, I think. There's a lot of fans.
Yeah. Question, can we get Trent on Forged in Fire? It's one of my favorite shows. I'm Canadian, and I think it's an American show. I think they block Canadians from coming.
Discrimination against Canadians.
I haven't applied yet because I'm not good enough yet. I'm still learning how to do things.
He's going to get up there, and they'll be like, this will not cut.
Yep. You suck. Yeah. Go home.
Go home. Go back to Canada.
Ouch. I already feel the pain, man.
What's going to be the expected price for Neverwinter Nights Enhanced Edition? Will there be a gold version, a collector's edition?
We're going to launch at $20. There will be the digital deluxe edition, and going forward, I mean, there's lots of opportunities to make stuff happen.
So speaking of box products, do I have one handy that I could take a gander at? So one of the things that we were quite pleased with Siege of Dragonspear was this beautiful collector's edition that we did. And this was kind of actually a little bit of an experiment.
Which Phil should mention that actually this is on sale right now.
Yeah.
Because we're doing Siege on tablet launch.
There you go.
We've cut the price on this just for a short period of time. It's down from $129 to $99. This is a sweet box. It's got the coin. It's got the little emblem, the necklace. It's got the map. It's got the dice. It's got so
sweet, thick manual.
And the box is sexy.
Yeah.
You know what?
Well,
how about
give it away?
I think we should give that one away.
Let's give it away.
So
the winner of this gorgeous Baldur's Gate Siege of Dragonspear Collector's Edition is Dafina.
Dafina. Don't be rude.
Deltoid. All right, buddy. You win.
Dafina wins.
So we really like that collector's edition. I think that we're very interested in collector's editions in the future. It's something that we're going to investigate. So we don't have anything concrete to say right now, but I loved doing that collector's edition. It took us a long time. We learned a lot of lessons about how to do it way, way more streamlined.
Yep.
So if we do it again, it would be a much shorter runway, I think.
Yeah, and we also learned that PayPal gets really mad if you take over 6 months to deliver on something. So they're not really happy.
Justifiably upset, though.
I get that.
Yeah,
they were grumpy, though.
Question from the audience. Any news about the UI scale? 2x with 1080 resolution?
Currently, we haven't got that resolved yet. It's something we're still talking about. It's one of those, do we fix it now? Or do we basically just redo the UI and make everything not suck? So I'm leaning more to the later camp.
There have been some interesting visual concepts thrown around about what it could look like, but we'll keep you in suspense for now. New content for the Neverwinter Night Enhanced Edition's original content is at the top of the Trello board. I can't believe you have no further plans on it, even after the initial release date. Many people enjoy the new content in BG. Will be ready to pay for such a thing in Neverwinter Night's Enhanced Edition. Maybe that was the wrong tone to read that in, but that's the sense that I got.
I feel your pain, Phil. And I understand what people are saying, but I don't know, it just doesn't feel right yet.
So, new content is coming as separate modules.
Yes.
New content for the original campaigns. Trent is still struggling internally with that. There is a battle of wills in his mind about how he wants to approach that. So don't be let down just yet.
Yeah.
How would you handle nautical combat, given that you cannot displace sections of the walk mesh? Would you need to change from a 2.5D walk mesh to a full 3D environment? Well, yeah, if you want nautical combat to include, like,
swells and
a
ships.
Z dimension, I guess, but, like...
I don't know, the way I would handle nautical combat in Neverwinter would... Man, I haven't even thought about that.
Because Neverwinter at present does not really have a concept of move up and down your Z-axis. You can really only move...
Yeah, but does moving up and down on Z-axis actually really affect two ships side by side that much?
I don't think they're talking about ships. I think they're talking about, like, swimming in the water. I mean, I guess nautical is
nautical ship.
Term. But I would interpret that as, can I swim underwater and fight like a creature? And I think you would need to either have a single plane and you're just kind of floating there, or...
We didn't do swimming, we didn't do flying for reasons that... Basically, you could break the entire...
Asking if you were to do it, how would you approach it?
I would start over with the complete 3D environment, and I would build a 3D game from the start.
It is a 3D game.
I would build a full 3D environment from the start.
I know, I'm being a jerk.
You are a jerk. I don't like you, Phil.
Is that the build of an upcoming patch? Yeah, so the version that I'm playing on the stream right now is actually an existing build that's out right this second, but with some new data dumped into the override folder to show it off.
Yep.
Which is actually why it didn't work initially, because I did not do the override thing properly. Whoops. Boyd sat there and showed it to me, and I did it wrong still, so sorry.
Will the save games from the beta right now be compatible with the upcoming updates?
Yeah, I assume so.
Save games are compatible.
I think saves from the original game still load, don't they?
Yep.
Yeah.
We haven't had to go through. We learned some things after Baldur's Gate at BioWare that applied to Neverwinter, and Neverwinter is actually...
Don't store game data in the save file. Hey, there's an idea.
It's a little better in terms of future proofing.
Question from the audience. Neverwinter Nights would be extremely hard to control on a tablet, I'd imagine, so I'm not expecting a port of it to mobile. Am I correct? No, you're not correct.
Neverwinter, I mean, to make it playable on a tablet, make it controllable, it would take a bit of twiddling.
So it would basically be, well, you have to change the UI, and we're going to have to do that anyways, so... I actually would love to see Neverwinter on mobile. That's one of the things that I personally really, really want to see. I'm not the guy driving this thing. I can just yell at the people who are and say, hey, I want to make Arabeth go on here. And maybe they'll do it. But I really want to see that, and I think that's something that we're definitely going to be looking into.
Yeah. Out of interest, would you be allowed to call it Neverwinter 3 if you wanted to? No. This is Neverwinter Nights Enhanced Edition. This is a Neverwinter 3. I mean, Neverwinter 3 implies $60 box product, horns blaring, parades. So I wouldn't call this Neverwinter 3, and I don't think anybody would want to. I think for a Neverwinter 3, you'd want the full parades and
for Neverwinter 3, you want like the photoreal, amazing.
Dude, if
everything.
we're gonna do a Neverwinter 3 at the launch party, I want a trebuchet.
You arrive on the stage, launch from a trebuchet.
No, I arrive on the stage and we launch Phil from a trebuchet.
Ooh, a question from the audience about the tool set. Something really interesting happened the other day with the tool set. Well, interesting from a programming perspective.
We're playing with the tool set and we're looking at kind of updating it to later versions of software.
But
making some progress on that.
What did we do? We got it off of Borland C++ Builder, and it's compiling in
the newer version of C++ Builder.
That's right. But didn't we also get it compiling in Visual Studio?
No, you are drunk.
Okay, well,
Phil is drunk. Phil is drinking heavily.
He's telling me to shut up. He's kicking me under the table.
I'll stab you
Okay,
above
then I
the
guess
table.
I don't know the answer to that
So
question.
the tool set, we're starting to work on it. We're getting more comfortable with it, making some changes on it. Things are slowly rolling ahead there.
Will we see some of the new modules and tile sets rolling out before summer? I don't really want to say yay or nay.
Summer is it depends if you think of seasons like you do in Canada, where there's summer and winter, and there's a tiny little fall and a tiny little spring between the two of them. Summer is probably a little early. I would say we're going to be moving on it as fast as we can, but at this point we're still kind of figuring out exactly how long things are going to take. So
I think you're still going to see content before then, but maybe not the scope of what you're thinking.
Yeah, we're going to be rolling some stuff. It'll be a big question.
There will be a constant drip feed of updates and content. If there will be a fully completed module is the question. Can we have a toggle for hiding the player list in multiplayer?
To what end?
They don't want to see who's playing.
People
are
don't want to see the player list.
I
guess it's more of a persistent world. Yeah,
maybe we're misunderstanding what the question is.
I think if you throw it up on Trello, we'll take a look at it.
You just want the button to go away? Little two swords?
No, I'm thinking maybe it's that people don't want to. On a persistent world, you don't want to see a player list of all the other players.
That's true. You don't need to see Superkilla 420XX ruining your fantasy.
Yeah. That's
question from the audience.
That's what the boot button is for. Kaboot.
What about access to companions and their equipment in the main campaign? Will that be a thing?
I'm interested in it.
Yeah.
I mean, if I were to go back and touch the official campaign,
that's
one of the big things I would do is basically port siege functionality back.
Ports functionality.
Yeah, God, we've made so many games, my brain hurts.
And they're all X of the Y. Every single one of them. Or X of Y.
X of Y.
Yeah.
X of Y.
Let's give another t-shirt away.
Let's make a game called X of Y.
Let's do that. Actually, we should give a t-shirt away that we received from our friends at Wizards of the Coast.
We should?
do that? Yeah.
Do we have a t-shirt we
got a
received from them?
So yesterday, we received a parcel in the mail from Wizards of the Coast.
Yeah.
And emblazoned upon the side was a note that I felt was rather rude, John. And it says, if you can see, not for Phil. So, guess who got to open the box in defiance of Wizards of the Coast? Let's take a look at what's inside. Plastic bubble wrap. Let's pop some of that. Let's just get some... come on, don't make me look like an idiot.
Phil's an idiot.
On stream. There we go.
There you go.
One.
Phil has popped some bubble wrap.
There's this beautiful hat, and there's a note inside. Let's put this on. Dear Phil, happy late Valentine's Day. Your secret admirer. Aw, this package is actually from Nathan. I think this hat might actually be from Jacob. I'm not sure who left it here.
I think so.
Did.
I think Jacob
What else
left
is
it
in here? There's a map. It's a cloth map. Look at this thing. What's this from?
Is that the...
This is the Sword Coast Legends map. Cool. It's the Forgotten Realms. Is Dragonspear on here? I think it is.
I think it might be.
Dragonspear is right there.
Sword Coast Legends maps.
Dragonspear Castle. What else is in here?
Check it out. Minsk,
Ooh.
beloved ranger.
But not only is it Minsk and
It's
Santa Claus.
Santa Claus.
It's actually a token for betrayal at Baldur's Gate, so you can play as Minsk or as Santa
Pachow.
Claus. What else we got?
We got some beholder stickers.
Sweet. Let's take a look at this.
You always need those on your car.
Wait, let me just put this in front of my face so it looks like it's my head.
It's totally your
It's
head.
going to take 7 seconds to catch up. I'm not going to bother. What else
Look
is
at my
in here?
face.
Tomb of Annihilation dice set. Fancy. And look, it's the that face from the Tomb of Horror that if you put your hand in, you lose it. So that's
And
cool.
we got a T-shirt from Magic the Gathering Arena.
Magic the Gathering Arena. Should we give that shirt away?
No, it's the only one we got. We should
All
totally
right.
give away a different shirt.
All right, let's give away a Neverwinter Nights t-shirt instead.
Let's
I'll
do that.
keep this one. for
Okay, you
me.
do that.
I'm going to cover it in cat hair.
You already did. You just are walking cat
So
hair.
that's what Wizard sent us. Thanks,
So,
guys. We appreciate it.
Neverwinter T-shirt to Weeborg 1978.
Congratulations, Weeborg 1978.
Yep.
You are
T-shirted.
48.
Wow.
That's wrong. I did that wrong.
You were
math.
so sucky at that. Phil is not math.
Is there any chance for beta testers to get some sort of beta tester title or something small along those lines? Sure. Why not?
We
You
haven't.
want a special
I don't
forum
think.
badge?
I don't think we've nailed that down yet, but that was kind of the loose
we
plan.
can make that happen. If you're on the Beamdog forums, I'll get you a little badge. How about that?
Are there any potential plans to talk to Obsidian about licensing Neverwinter 2?
We talk to those guys all the time.
Yeah, it's like, yo, Gus, what's happening? And he's like,
He's
dude,
like,
I gotta
stop calling me.
I gotta talk to Parker and the other boys and see what the posse
Trent,
thinks.
it's 2 a.m. We're in the same time zone.
Stop your
What the
drunk
hell?
calling of me, you bastard.
Yeah.
So we talk to the guys all the time. I mean,
Mainly about demanding free Deadfire keys, but
that and asking them if they found the Icewind Dale 2 code yet. That's like in every
there's
2
a little
weeks.
bit of harassment
So have
going
you found
on.
the Icewind Dale 2 code yet? Because
It's bordering on
yeah,
stalking.
yeah,
but
we're
want
getting
that
pretty
source
bad with
code.
that.
It's driving me up the wall. Yeah.
The multiplayer list question is talking about being able to see player levels from the character select screen.
Multiplayer is talking about being able to player levels from the character select screen.
Okay, so you can see the level of players. I'm not sure there.
We need to see this written out.
If you want to feature, post it on the message board, get people chatting about it, and then the watchful eye of Julius will fall upon it, and it will be committed to the input troller board. At which point, it will come into my sphere of, oh my God, what's this, and what the hell does it mean?
Are there any? Oh wait, we already answered that.
Somebody has a request. Would love a module written by Phil where he's told to just go nuts regarding writing.
So there was.
It was called Seizure Dragonspear.
No, I didn't do any writing.
You
for
did
Dragons.
writing on Seizure Dragonspear.
I did approximately like 4 paragraphs worth of writing. I am not an excellent writer. I can sprint. If you need to write something, very short and funny, hey, I will help you out. But that marathon of let's make a whole paragraph, can't do it. I'm a terrible
So
writer.
Phil actually came up with Baloth and his excessive use of alliteration.
That was fun for me.
That was fun.
And then it got out of hand when I handed it off to other writers, and they're like, let's make all of what he says alliteration.
Well, I think Phil just got tired of it, and he's like, somebody else finish this thing. I have created a horrible
I
scenario.
could create back of a napkin funny character, but he doesn't have any depth is the problem. So we had to spend quite a bit of time figuring out how to give Rasad and Nira and Baloth more depth.
Yeah, so here's a question. Are you planning to reskin/retexture all of the vanilla tile sets? We're still thinking about this. So we're not 100% committed to rolling down this road. We got to figure out the cost and the timelines, because right now we're working on the tools. We're figuring out what the tool path is. We're interested in it. We want to do it, but if it's going to cost an obscene bucket of money to do it, it's just going to be beyond our means. What we do want to do is visually move the entire game forward, so that's something we're going to push.
And if you do want a sample of my writing, take a look at the old newsletters from Beamdog.
Phil's a funny guy when he wants to be.
I don't want to be.
Here's a question. So when is Beamdog making a full dive VR headset so I can live in D&D and never come out?
I got a guy in the last stream was telling me that he got Neverwinter running in Vorpax.
Yes.
And I tried it out last weekend, and I actually got it working. So Vorpax, for those of you who are unaware, is an application that allows you to take an existing 3D game and make it, basically force it to work in VR by splitting the renderer so that you've got 2 slightly different perspectives. So it's not great. Most games in Vorpax do not function well because they're not designed to have someone looking around inside of them.
Yep.
But I was able to get it running, and with some tweaking, it was reasonably okay. Not something I would want to ship, but it was cool to just be in the world of Neverwinter, and I could look around, and my character's there, and I want to see it with these graphics because I was playing with the old ones and it was kind of disconcerting.
Fair enough.
But no, it worked and it was really, really cool. I don't know if Neverwinter Nights is the product to try and inject VR support for, but I think D&D absolutely has a cool future in D&D, or VR, I should say. There's some neat stuff on the horizon coming that you're going to be very excited about.
Here's a question. Board games have grown so much in the past decade. What is your favorite modern board game and why?
I'm more of a classic board game enthusiast.
Axis and Allies is my favorite board game of all time.
Would you consider that a modern board game? Because it's kind of somewhere in between. Because it was like more advanced than Monopoly, Scrabble, the board games of old.
I don't care. It's my
but
favorite
perhaps
game.
less so than Twilight Imperium.
I'm just looking at what is your favorite board game, and it's Axis and Allies.
I spent like a week playing Twilight Imperium one night, and it's a lot of fun, but man, that setup, it's nuts. I also agree that Axis and Allies is a lot of fun. I like big strategic war games.
I did play, well, it's not really a board game, but Cards Against Humanity.
Oh, yeah.
The first time you play it, you will actually hurt your stomach laughing so hard. And then it's not as...
Sharp curve.
Yeah, the first time's amazing. After that, it kind of falls off a bit. You realize that, my God, I have reached such a horrible level of offensive content.
It's fun about 1.5 times to play. That's the rule for Cards Against Humanity.
Yeah.
How many people work at Beamdog, and how many projects do you have?
Well, the Beamdog numbers kind of always go up and down because we're working with a lot of people outside of the office on a contract basis. Specifically, if you're in another country, we can't really have you as an employee, so we got to work with people as contractors. So internally, I believe we're currently 29 with 2 hires on the desk.
And then globally, we've got people all over the world.
Globally,
the States, Europe,
at
Asia.
peak, we're usually up to about 25, 26, and the lowest I think we've been down to probably about 6 or 7. So it kind of moves up and down, but we're almost 30 internal. We will be 30 pretty quick. And
also a dozen or 2 dozen.
The other question was, how many projects do we have on the go? Well,
do we want to tell them
do we want to pile in all the Baldur's Gate stuff?
Yeah.
And
So I typically break it down into 4. There's New Game A and New Game B, which we will not be discussing. And then there's Infinity Engine and Neverwinter Nights.
Yes.
So 4 teams, one of which is now paused as we pitch this thing that we built.
Oh.
And the 3rd team will be unnamed as to what they're working on. But the other 2 teams are Infinity Engine and Neverwinter Nights. And so, yeah, we got 3.5, but really 3 because the 4th one is paused.
If you don't want to change the original campaign, are you instead considering making a new expansion from Neverwinter Nights?
I think I'm considering both, really.
I'm totally about new content, dude. Here's a question. Are you guys going to have a booth at GDC? No. Well, setting up booths is hard, and we'll be down there mainly to just meet up with friends.
I think the question was, are you guys going to have a booth at the bar at GDC?
Yeah, so just look for Cam and I camped at the bar, probably with Fergus and a couple other dudes.
If there, every year there's that Canadian get-together that they have at that bar nearby.
Yeah.
You'll surely see them there. Every Canadian that goes to GDC shows up there.
Yeah, it's a Canadian conspiracy.
And
we all get together.
Like packed in, and like all the poutine is eaten within 5 minutes.
Yeah,
it's a good time.
It was pretty good.
Question: the tile set and the model of the human will be available in the workshop to try them out. Yeah, I think we're going to start rolling more content out in the workshop for you guys to test out. So a while ago we pushed out the Arabeth model.
Yep.
If you look for new spikes, you can find her in there. So yeah, we're going to be pushing out content into the workshop to just experiment with things.
Yep.
In addition to visual upgrades, we might throw out little tiny modules here and there. They're just testing a specific feature or something. So yeah, you'll see stuff in the workshop from us.
Yep. Here's a question. How is recruitment going?
Oh yeah, so we're hiring.
We are hiring.
We have quite a variety of programming positions available. Yeah, it's going pretty good. We've brought in a few people. We just yesterday had a couple people agree and
say yes, they are coming on, and they will get their Beamdog T-shirt and their brand. We don't talk about the brand though.
Wait, you get an option of where you get the brand?
No.
Oh well.
We really need updated Max tools. Any ETA? Right now, we're basically fighting those Max tools ourselves and trying to figure out what do they want to be when they grow up and what should they look like. So when we're done, we'll share them out. Yep. In between time, we'll suggest ways to work with stuff, and we might drop some beta tools in somewhere. I've personally was twiddling with the Mac scripting, and that's a bad thing because my Mac scripting's not so awesome. But we'll get to a point where it's pretty stable.
Question about porting. Since you're looking into mobile, would you also consider looking into the Nintendo Switch? Same question for Baldur's Gate and Torment 2. Yeah, absolutely. We're looking into that.
I don't think we've commented. I don't think we've admitted to any public plans on going to Switch, and
we're interested.
We're interested in the
investigating
concept.
how we would do it. We haven't committed to it yet, but
Yeah.
I think the Switch would be a lot of fun for all of our games. Neverwinter, PST, Baldur's Gate. I could see a future for them on Switch. That's a lot of fun.
I could see where you're doing them. It was actually pretty cool. Yeah. So interested, no formal plans that we've announced. How many people are working now on Neverwinter EE? That is always in flux. Jeez.
On a day-to-day basis, it's at least like 6 or 7.
Probably 7 people, 8 people.
And it depends, like, because artists will come on and off the project based on what we're doing.
Oh yeah, and then there's as well some contractor help we've got. So I think it's been as high as about 10 people, and it depends on if you call me working on it or not. Because I mean I'm there part time. I basically kind of seagull in, do my business over everything, and then I fly away. So adding value. That's me adding value.
Question, would new expansions introduce new classes / races to help showcase what can be done with the revamped toolset and UI? Yeah, I think that would be the main purpose of these new modules, is to showcase what Neverwinter can do now and really ignite the community about what's possible.
It's going to come down. I mean, over time we want to drop stuff, and we'll see when the UI refactor can happen and how things fall in.
Question from the audience. D&D is your foundation and your platform of games that you make. Have you given thought on expanding out of D&D, say, to look at other DOS games?
I'd say to incorporate an older DOS game called Twilight 2000. I've never heard of Twilight 2000.
I've never heard of it either. I think we've talked about this on streams many times about other games that we had wanted to do enhanced editions of.
Yeah, we made a list that was like 30 games long, and basically a lot of them were RPGs. I mean, I wanted to do TIE Fighter, because TIE Fighter was like, I just really liked. Well, actually, I wanted to do X-Wing because I actually liked X-Wing better than TIE Fighter. But TIE Fighter was the later version, so more people liked it. But flying a TIE Fighter sucks.
It was both. You had X-Wing options in there.
I know, but flying a TIE Fighter was so brutal. You just got
the
tore up.
story was so cool. You're a pilot for the Empire.
Yeah, the story wasn't that great, dude.
Ravenloft would be awesome. Get on it, Beamdog. I like Ravenloft.
I don't love Ravenloft.
Why not? What's not to love about Count Baron von Strahd?
It's just gothic horror stuff. I was never really huge into gothic horror.
I guess.
I like the aesthetic, but at the same time, I find it just a little too narrow in terms of.
Have you seen the new
it's
Ravenloft,
canned.
though? Because the original Ravenloft, yes, it was a pretty tight, focused adventure.
Yep.
But the new Ravenloft that WotC just put out is actually like a mini campaign setting. It expands out Ravenloft to be this much larger place. It's still like a demi-plane or a trap plane. I don't know what they call it now. But I don't know. It's pretty cool. It's a much more expansive
I see.
module.
Here's a question. So what is Phil's job exactly?
I'm going to let Trent describe this one.
Phil's job is studio director. So Phil's job is to oversee the functioning of the studio and the projects that we have on go. He's supposed to be the 10,000-foot man who keeps an eye on everything that's going on and keeps it all rolling in the same steady direction.
Go on. What else?
That's it, dude.
Okay. Well,
That is your job description.
final.
Keep it rolling, baby.
All right, let's wrap up. So, Neverwinter Nights is releasing on Steam on March 27th, 2018, and it's going to be fantastic.
Yes. And Siege of Dragonspear is out today on iOS and on Android. And it's pretty awesome. It's pretty polished. We're pretty happy with it. The collector's edition of Siege of Dragonspear, which is awesome, is on sale right now and will be on sale for a short time. So if you want to get it. So one of the things we never really talked about is each one of these has a card in it. And on that card is a unique number. Each one of these, it is a very limited set, and there is a number in there that tells you what edition you've got. We made 3,000 of them. We're down to about 1,000 left, and we're not making any more. So if you want it, you best be grabbing it because it's on sale, and we're probably not going to put it on sale again for quite a while.
Somebody won this one. You can't have this one.
No, not that one.
This one's already taken.
That one's
Don't.
gone.
Stop trying to buy it. Stop.
Whatever number that one has is now gone.
Stop trying to buy it. You can't buy it. Don't buy it.
So
you can buy other ones, but you can't buy this one.
Exactly.
So,
so we're continuing to hire. We've got some job openings still open on the website. One of the things, like Phil mentioned, we got 4 projects on the go. It's like, oh my God, that takes a lot of effort. And we kind of joked about it. We called it the Seth cycle, where we had like one guy programming and 2 people on top of him kind of trying to manage him. So we're actually trying to invert the Seth cycle and make it so it's like 5 guys working on the thing and 1 or 2 people managing
The concept was, those long lumber saws that 2 men used to operate?
Yep.
And that was the wrong concept.
Yeah. So we won't do it like that. So before we go, let's give away another T-shirt.
Okay. Are we going to give away this shirt now?
No! We're going to keep that one. Jackass.
Fine.
So we're going to give away another Neverwinter T-shirt too. Professor Storm Tracker 1.
I love meteorologists. They're great.
I ponder the one. Are you saying like I'm the #1 Professor Storm Tracker?
No, Professor Storm Tracker was already taken by a different meteorologist.
Dude.
Yeah.
Not cool.
All right, folks. Thanks for watching this stream today. We'll see you again next Friday. Don't forget, Neverwinter Nights, March 27th. Siege of Dragonspear is out on mobile right now. We will see you in 7 days.
Yeah. In the meantime, and in between time, that's another edition of our stream. Thanks, everybody.
Bye. Where did this hat come from? It didn't come from WotC.